Shift here with Marks, and yeah, I'm interested to see what NRG Academy are going to try to do with the deadlock. They bring it back after pulling it in the first couple of rounds of the Swiss stage, and I will say, kind of looking to slow down the Waylay and the Yoru. Kind of excited to see how this deadlock can get going, especially early.
Yeah, it really is interesting kind of taking a look at the NRG composition, just because they've, you know, after facing sleepers, things might not have gone quite their way. And so they kind of have to come back here and revisit some of these ideas, try and figure out what is going to really work for them. On the other side, though, I mean, taking a look at the composition for Evictix, this is pretty much what you would have expected them to kind of come out with. We've seen them run this before, and you know that they're nice and comfortable with it. Currently only with the one win up against, I believe that was, let me just check my notes here. And it's hidden in my notes. But regardless, I'm super curious to kind of see how a lot of these synergies are going to be trying to work out together. Already, we're kind of seeing how NRG want to set up onto this defense. It's going to be that heavy stack, a lot of utility, you know, just go out with this, with the flash just off the wall, and then send the Waylay in if things kind of get nasty. But right off the bat, Evictix, they are nice and slow and patient on this pistol round, with a little bit more of that emphasis towards that A site. And so as soon as somebody yields a little bit of that util, it's going to be pretty much the go signal for both these teams.
Yeah, trust him, fam. It's in his notes. Prep work was done. Here we go.
I got the spreadsheets, don't worry.
I believe you. I believe you. Got a little heavy stack here, though, for NRG Academy. Just using Sean Dex as the point of contact. Shaw's interested, but we'll retract back, and we will just kind of reset and feel things out. Maybe around where Traded is positioned over at the old Octagon. But yeah, Chloric, you can see exactly what their preference is. It's I've got everything I could possibly need right in front of me and behind me, so yeah, no reason to do anything crazy. You also have the teleporter-based Viper's Wall to keep you safe if you have to back up, which that looks like that might be the case. Prowler is in, Ren's on the quick teleport, and there's going to be a battle here, possibly for first blood. Traded able to find the opener over towards the B side. And honestly, NRG Academy are in a pretty miserable spot right now.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The cavalry comes in, but just a little bit too late. So Spike will go down, but NRG are going to be ready for a pretty fast retake. All members they need are going to be on here.
Yeah, Giza has to hold this position at elbow. There's the first flash. Able to find a headshot, but not enough to find the elimination. So now you have to work this over through hookah. Yeah, that's the problem with that is it's just once EVX gets onto site and they isolate the deadlock away from the play, there's just not enough room to work with. That's a very clean pistol for Evictix.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at how they kind of wanted to get themselves set up there, and then it was just kind of that 4 stack onto that A site, and then just leaving really the deadlock on that B site. Chloric really just trying to hold things together here, but then Evictix, you know, they've got the man advantage. They're more than comfortable to just be able to go through, and the retake there just unfortunately not quite hitting its mark. So Evictix, they start us off nice and easy, and look at that already, Dre. Going to be bringing in the Phantom on this next round, but I'm excited. Look at that Shaw's bringing in that Bucky, because, you know, the Waylays lately have just been kind of flying in, either throw the Saturate and then have the Yoru follow up, or just fly in and then shoot someone with the Bucky and get the heck out of there. So a lot of fancy Waylay play I'm expecting this map.
Yeah, this will just be an early look at it. That should be pretty free. I mean, we just got classics out here for NRG Academy, so this is the old gamble stack and hope something works for you. But big advantage for Evictix, and now it's just about making sure you don't do anything too sloppy here in the anti-eco. Puts up what, like you kind of mentioned, an opportunistic bonus. Behind the wall, we'll prowl in towards U-Haul and then see if we can get clearance on the site itself. Spike should make its way forward behind this, and NRG Academy seem more interested in kind of hanging and chilling. So see what happens. Got plan in, full setup on the connector into the A site, but will this actually be a commitment to actually play for it, or are we all just sacrificing ourselves to the Spike? That's the real question. Smoke will fade, we're about to find out. Traded may give himself away here, actually. Slowed and crouched up. But nope, NRG Academy. Well, they're going to get one. It's a little bit of a mistake. Shaw's able to follow up, though. No problems there. And it should be no problem for the rest of the round out here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty easy at this point. NRG Academy just checking in case people backed off onto that B site, but just going to go down to the Spike explosion now. Make sure no one gets away with anything. Classic second round here, but honestly a really good round coming out from Evictix. Most importantly, they're able to carry the most important weapon through, that Phantom in the hands of Dre. And of course, I'm still gonna highlight the Bucky here because I still really like the Bucky and how that Waylay can kind of play off of that one. But this is where I'm gonna be interested in taking a look at how NRG want to set up this defense. Now that they're going to have the weaponry in hand, you know, how does this deadlock play? Is it gonna be more of this floating agent that we're kind of seeing here, just kind of using the utility to really deny the space, deny some of the avenues, at least with the mesh for a second? Or do you be a little bit more proactive? We know the net is a great tool at kind of getting people stuck and finding an easy kill right off rip.
Oh, interesting. I think Ange may have shown themselves. Now it doesn't make much of a difference as a snake bite down, so now the information is known of who exactly this is. If you are Evictix trying to play up this B main position. Aunt destroyed. Here comes the forced play. The flash was there, but it doesn't allow the first blood to come through. That's a huge opening pick for Evictix, who now have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, now they're just going to be able to scout this one out. The Prowler probably didn't get that information, so Giza should be able to back out there. It was a cheeky little idea, but unfortunately, Evictix just a little bit higher up than NRG Academy were expecting there, and so Ange going down does take away quite a few of the smokes that were available for NRG, just relying on Shondex to use those sky smokes to kind of keep them at bay, but there's still plenty of time right now, so a lot for Evictix to work around and kind of continue to navigate around the map while NRG continue to scratch their heads, not too sure where this one is going to end.
But for the moment, things are looking pretty confident for NRG Academy, although this little show of force from Raccoon will have, yep, the Brim backing away, or will they? Shondex is going to commit to staying on the close corner here with Renz inside the site, or at least partially. Oh, and if you find one for free, but no, Scotty has the trade. That's an important one. Defense can rotate over behind this as the spike is down. 10 seconds to the clock. Molly out for Shondex. Trying to isolate the 1v1 here. Shots out on the isolate.
Good
Instead,
saturate.
Will come the way of Shaw's, thanks to the utility of the Waylay, and Caloric can really do nothing from that position. So I'll tell you what, man, Evictix looking pretty clean. And a lot of that just coming off that opening first contact through B main.
Yeah, and you know, it was a good move there, I will say, for NRG Academy. Ren's just kind of aware that Evictix might be going over, and it was all thanks to the blooming of the Viper Orb just at the very end. So, you know, that kind of gave up the plan on what's going on, and as a result of that, then they are at least able to make it a little bit contested. But Evictix, I mean, great usage of the saturate coming out from Shaw's. Makes sure that they more or less guarantees a free kill because they double swing on it together. And this is a lot of that synergy off the Waylay that the desk was highlighting as well, especially once we're moving towards a lot more of this double duelist stuff. You know, comboing with the Waylay more or less guarantees a free kill. So I'm really liking some of the stuff that Evictix are doing here on the attack, while NRG Academy still struggling to put together this defensive half.
Yeah, early days, I mean, it's a pistol and anti-eco, but losing the bonus doesn't feel great. I think a lot of that, again, just comes down to that first contact that belong. It's just, you know, set up for the Viper to peek off the flash. Doesn't really work out to their advantage. So you don't like to start this far behind the 8 ball if you are the defensive side here on Bind. Traded. Going to just get a little bit of an opening peek in towards A, but no commitment here at the moment. Oh, shot does hit through the wall. Ren's going to take a little bit of worse for wear damage there. And Evictix is just going to kind of keep hanging, see if they can catch someone over peeking, which they very well may. But the Prowler comes out just the nick of time, and Raccoon stays alive.
Oh, that's crazy. With the right-click classic too, almost finding the kill could have been key. Thankfully, a little bit more reinforcement this time as the Waylay dashes in there to get a little bit of information, but no full commitment until now.
Here comes the play. Traded eventually able to finish off onto Renz. Shaw's making sure there's no peek over through U-Haul, but Traded's got that covered from bench. And yeah, whoa, Shondex, good shot. Raccoon is low. Not improbable that you could find another, but I would say more so improbable that NRG Academy can take this round away, or will they? Shondex does find a Vandal. 3v2 situation just like that. Raccoon over the top, a little sloppy, but eventually able to find the headshot. But the last one left. Raccoon's able to find one more, but Ange right there to find the trade. That's a huge bounce back for NRG Academy.
Good job coming in with the pistols that time. NRG Academy benefiting off of some of the issues from Evictix, not necessarily able to find the kills that they really should have been able to secure. And it's in some of those moments that we just see the sharp shots coming out from NRG Academy, making sure that they find the kills, and suddenly it's a lot easier. Like a couple of these whiffs there, just make it a little bit more difficult and allow for that opening for Shondex to slowly walk in there and navigate around. Raccoon's still doing a pretty good job of, you know, keeping the rifle alive, making sure that it's working out for everything. But in the end, just works out for NRG Academy. A little bit unconventional, but you know that they are going to take it. And now Renz has an operator, so they're doing a little bit more than just kind of take this and are ready for the next thing.
Here we go. Chloric. Good first blood. A little bit of aggression for the first time shown over towards Showers here for NRG Academy. A couple of attacks from traded does come out, but largely speaking, everything is fine here for NRG Academy. They do have the annihilation in pocket. Considering the mental drift at this particular round, but losing on Raccoon, you feel particularly great. Annihilation will be sent, does capture one. And that's actually the spike carrier on top of that.
Huge.
Keep that in the back of your mind. So Trey will drop spike now down right in front of the site. And if you are looking at this Evictix, how do you possibly even get this round back? Maybe Shaw's can do something. He snuck in through Shower side. Kind of. Maybe more than kind of. Because you get no opportunity to line him up, but not the case. And now huge numbers for NRG Academy.
At the same time, though, this does allow Evictix a bit of space here, so they will be able to get the spike. I think the call is being made to teleport out of there if possible. But NRG Academy still just waiting. Given the numbers advantage, you know that they're more than happy to try and play off this one, but it is going to be the push through now.
Well, the collection of the spike is part one. But this is a story that's going to take multiple parts to write. Chloric still holding in the corner. Scotty hoping for a chow, but NRG Academy not really interested.
Yeah.
Nice little aim labs over there from Traded, but largely speaking, everything comfortable thanks to the first blood from NRG Academy. And I like that they're showing us some pressure through Showers here in the 5th round.
Yeah, agreed. And at that point, like at the end of that last round, great stuff from NRG Academy. Just making sure, hey, you know what? We don't have to throw our lives away here. They're going to take all the time that they need. Sure, they got the spike. Let's listen for the teleport. We're more than happy to play this retake game. And so they just play it absolutely patiently. No need to throw your life out. Isolated, especially when you're going up against a player like Traded, who has, a little bit of a knack for finding some insane kills. But moving into this next round here, a lot of ultimates online for Evictix. Sure, their weapon economy isn't the best, but with these ultimates, they could make this one work.
Well, shotgun
no
for Shaw's is tagging, but not able to finish Chloric, who I love this. Thinking that, okay, this is clear. Let me just jump on in, find some good timing. And that will be enough for another first blood through Showers. But NRG Academy a little bit stuck now on the other side of the barrier. Good flash. Now you got to swing to fight this, though. And the trades do come out in favor of Evictix, so we'll go to a 3v3.
I think the mesh was thrown at first to be like, oh yeah, clearly we're backing off of here. But then in a weird, fun way, it actually makes it so that Chloric and Giza are stuck on the side of Evictix. And then, you know what? Not able to escape in that one. Chloric spots someone while reloading. It all kind of falls apart. So down to this 3v3 scenario, but Ange makes it a lot more possible 3v2.
At least you got some site presence here if you are Evictix. And you've got the opportunity to possibly drop in a major ultimate to save a post-plant situation here, but instead it's just Dre versus the world, 1v2 to continue. Smoke down, gonna try to fake out the plant, isolates, but just catches a little bit too much of the box. And Shondex now has us tied up at 3. Nice bounce back starting with that Thrifty a couple rounds ago with NRG Academy.
Yeah, and well, you know what? It's working out really well for them at this point. They're gaining their momentum. Well, once again, NRG Academy being the team that started off this Challenger season very, very, very hot. After the first couple of games, everyone was like, these guys are unstoppable. And then as more rounds happened, well, it turns out they're very stoppable. And that's why we're in this situation right now. But they're slowly pulling themselves back up. And it's still looking pretty good. Chloric's still 1 away from having yet another annihilation. With the value that we saw the last one get, be pretty excited to see how he decides to use that one. Still with the weaker weaponry, Evictix still have ultimates online here.
Yeah.
They're still also 1 away from Raccoon getting that call online as well.
That is the big thing, knowing that you've got a dimensional drift from Traded. Like, the weapon superiority could be canceled out a little bit with the orbital strike as well in a post play, but never mind. You've lost Shaws, who had the convergent paths, and Shondex is considering an orbital strike. That would have been bold considering the circumstances. Seekers are out. You're able to find one in return. Shondex still possibly considering, and we'll drop this in a very odd spot. It's isolate on the drag, but this is expensive here for NRG Academy. It's going to work out, but it's one of those, was it worth the squeeze? We'll find out later.
I was thinking the exact same thing. It's kind of funny because, like, you look at the buy coming in for Evictix, they're not necessarily full buying up, they haven't committed any of their ultimates, and you're already a couple of people up. Don't get me wrong, it's a great tool to make sure that you're able to secure the round before things kind of get out of control, but I'd make the argument that NRG were in full control before things went. And suddenly, a lot more of these tools that Evictix have in their ultimate pockets are going to get a lot more value because you can't use that orbital strike to really just send things out. You can't use the annihilation to yoink somebody away just in case they do have theirs. But it is going to be Evictix starting us out with the dimensional drift to get that information.
Yeah, but I do like this. As soon as dimensional drift comes out, you throw the barrier orb and you also put grab that down, portray it still with the fine Chloric. Now all that utility will be bypassed. Shaw's on the corner. Shondex in some trouble here, trying to get away, but there's nowhere to go. So NRG Academy crumbling here. And with Rens on an op, you think there's probably no chance they actually really fully go for this, and that will indeed be the case. Yeah, very puzzling round in the prior one, and even more puzzling that Rens even peaks that. From NRG Academy throwing so many ultimates at it, and what I thought was maybe like you could maybe justify like throwing that many ults to get a clean win so that way the economy gets boosted, but then we just threw away 5,000 credits with the op-out. So like, I don't know. It definitely feels a little bit odd, but regardless, we're tied to 4.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is NRG Academy, they've got the more than enough cash in order to make sure that they can buy up everything that they need, including that operator, given the fact that a lot of them had bonus that last round. But still, the overall macro economy is now starting to swing more towards Evictix. And once again, they still have the convergent paths online. And we talked about the synergy that they've used off of that waylay. And I imagine they've got a couple of cool things to do off of that ultimate as well.
Ooh, Giza, some trouble here. Steps away from the hookah play. Dashes for Shaw. Shut down. Nice response from Giza. Also a reactive Viper's Pit being called in. As Traded is going to try to walk his way through it. Prowler out. And denies it. Oh, but Trade still finds the elimination. And look at Traded's position. How has he gotten here?
Time to jump.
May not make much of a difference. The spike will already be planted. Chloric, yeah. Do what you can from hookah. Shondex actually gets the shutdown. Hold on a second. Now it's Scotty to the 1v2. And this is not as comfortable as it looked a moment ago.
Awkward positioning, but at this point, NRG know exactly where he is. And yeah, Chloric finds that final kill. Shift, it was a little bit interesting. I mean, with everything kind of going on, dropping the Viper's Pit, but at the same time, it just kind of comes down to just finding those timings and some lucky sprays, either through predictive pathing on where the waylay is going to end up, or in the middle of the Viper's Pit and being able to take Ange out before things kind of go crazy. But at the end of the day, NRG Academy are just looking down their sight lines and making sure to find the kills onto Evictix. I genuinely thought Evictix, as soon as the Viper's Pit went down and with the position of Traded, should have cleaned up that round.
Agreed.
But NRG, they grit their teeth and keep on going.
Yeah, that felt like a missed opportunity right there for Evictix, especially with Traded's position through elbow. Maybe not expected that the defense had no one there, but regardless, the Viper's Pit falls. Traded is deep, doesn't make a difference. Now we've got a quick burst for Evictix, at least initially. Pop flash from Traded does get countered by Rens. First blood good for NRG Academy. Shotgun out in a very dangerous spot though, and Scotty will follow on some of that chip damage that comes out. No problem there. Shondex is stuck in the corner. This will be a plant and a 4v2. That Chloric and Giza are in some trouble with the Nomai. Nearly a little collapse moment opens the door, but instead it's just on Chloric.
At this point, Chloric really just kind of looking for a couple of kills here, but an excellent round being played out by Evictix this time around. Sure, it was a bit of a chaotic entry. They all got kind of caught up in the net upon entry and, you know, had to take that sticky stuff off of you. But after that, it was so easy for them to push through. As soon as the information gets known, convergent paths come online, and you just see the flood through from Evictix. Of course, we got the POV of Raccoon on that last round with the judge in hand, but it's just so clean coming through as soon as they decide to initiate off of it. So a very good comeback from Evictix, especially on that Thrifty round. Just needed to use a single ultimate to really make that one stick, and now it's NRG Academy. Their economy isn't looking as hot. They're, you know, coming in with a couple of stingers, but Renz has a convergent paths of his own, and so that does open a couple of avenues, especially if it's going to be an Evictix flood in like we saw on some of those previous rounds.
Well, we've seen this before. Ange holding the Viper's wall over towards this angle at B. Oh, that's enough of a shoulder to give intro. And we'll back down just a touch, as again, this is an important round here late in the first half in terms of what happens to the economy. Traded will be now one away from eventual drift with that orb. Trailblazer does not, I believe, scope out Raccoon at mid sands. So Ange will get one. In case it does well, they actually catch one before falling. But all things told, it will be a spike plant 3v3.
All things considered, Ange and Giza being able to find their ones does make this a more winnable scenario here. Moving in, of course, Ren still has that convergent paths online, still has the util to go in and scout things out. So this one is still possible for NRGA.
Well, Shaws is going to step up. Floric
Oh my
backs up
goodness
the
me.
site. Ren's holding on, ready to go with the paths.
No.
Maybe not. Shaws, yeah, just not expected to be that far forward on the spot. We'll take two, and with that, like to get Evictix their sixth round. And more importantly, and talking about the impact of this particular round, it swings the eco into what's going to be a largely huge save here for NRG. Will save. It's they can't afford much, my Bob say. Depending if Shondex can get out, maybe find a couple of kills, and he maybe could afford one more extra weapon, but this has been a good swing here at the end of the half for Evictix with advantage coming in the last round of the
Evictix
half.
are able to walk away with that one. It just came down to not being aware of exactly what was going on. Specifically, Shaw's just hanging out in that tube there. Really just kind of shut that one down. You could see for a moment there was a plan from NRG Academy, but just not knowing where that waylay was going to be. All things considered, though, this is still a really good half defensively for NRGA on this specific composition. Moving into this next one, given the fact that it is the last round of the half, a lot of ultimates online for both of these sides. It's going to be a very early convergent paths as Traded gets caught, but will find Renz right off rip. That is good value from the Yoru.
Who's next?
The Academy, so mental drift will be used on the attack. You do get an orbital strike for Shondex with this orb position, but not going to call to deny the plant. Seekers will move first. And honestly, if you're Chloric, love to try to find a way to bounce that annihilation somewhere around the U-Hauls. As Shondex able to find one, the orbital strike all behind that. Annihilation used to try to strip away the site, but no one gets caught by it. He's in now the backside flank, able to find one. Did he get more than that? Has an opportunity as this is Traded completely isolated to the backside of the site. And there, Traded completely wins. And how about that for NRG Academy? They don't really get what they want with the ultimates, but they flush them out of position. You get the Stingers to sing a song, especially out of Giza, and we'll end the half 6-6.
Oh, Stinger meta is so back right now, everybody. That was kind of crazy. And the best part about that, too, is that they made sure to find the people who had the ultimates online for Evictix. So even though they had all these tools available to really just close out the round, doesn't matter because suddenly all these players are swarming around you with Stingers in hand. Crazy stuff from NRG, but that's a great way to end that half. And now as they move over into this offense, I'm really picturing NRG Academy starting to run away with things. Like, obviously, the last time that we've seen this composition come through was up against SAD Esports, where it was a really tough defensive half for them with that specific composition. But now moving on to this, well, the attacking half, it was looking pretty darn good. And guess what? NRG Academy are on the attack. Let's see how Evictix want to play off of it. Specifically using those double duelists, I imagine we're going to be seeing a little bit more aggressive plays to grab more map control here. But Ange already taken down just at the start here from that push out from Evictix.
Yeah, and this is more of that aggression coming through, even on the other side of the spike here for Evictix. 5v4 now. Approach on the way in.
Take hold.
Raccoon. Just gonna throw a little bit of utility out. But largely no damage done yet, as Evictix is just happy to hold his position and wait for NRG to burst on.
And keep in mind too, like look at how much space they're getting right now with Floric. They're all hanging over there in case they need to get out, but a lot of damage in Spike.
Yeah, NRG Academy right now just a little bit stuck.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
no here either. That'll be likely the second pistol going the way of Evictix unless there's some sort of heroic, but there's just no Spike here, so even if we do find a couple eliminations, well, result in much, but I will say 9 games could potentially come into play here. Like that's a gunfight that you just expect Scotty to win and doesn't, so.
One enemy standing.
Grab net out. Chloric Ren's nowhere to go. Pistol to Evictix. Have the advantage
A
back.
little bit of a misplay there from the players of NRG Academy hanging outside of B long. I mean, yeah, you know, you see exactly how they're going to be setting up. Chloric has gotten so much space onto A. All the defenders from Evictix have evacuated A at this point because they know that the fight's going over there. And then, oopsies, Giza drops the spike. And then suddenly it cuts into this position where you're like, okay, we have to recover the spike. No worries. Hey, Renz, just go ahead and clear it out. I'll grab the spike and I'll be right behind you. And even though the smoke goes down for Shondex, then Evictix see the smoke and they're like, well, they have to go for the spike, so let's just spam through. And then suddenly it gets into this really awkward position for NRG Academy to rescue that thing. So great job from Evictix. A bit of a misplay for NRG Academy, but let's see how they want to play it this time. Just full classics on NRGA's side.
Fall back here.
Well, they find themselves at the front doors at A behind all of this smoke, so you can get the plant off. And now it's just about trading these fights, if at all possible. In particular, to watch this one over towards U-Haul. That's the one that likely would mean important work for NRG Academy's post plant. Raccoon trying to work their way in. Shoulder seen. Shotgun will work though. Yeah, that's the problem with this. Chloric does find one, gives himself the judge back. And more. Scotty whiffs on one. Hold on. Sean's got long range shots with the classic, but Sean's just still hanging. Traded playing bodyguard, and the spike will be diffused. But boy, did that get interesting for a moment there for NRG Academy, almost being able to pull it out.
Hey, compared to the first half where we basically saw NRG Academy roll over on that second round, just like, you know what, yeah, you guys have this. This is fine. We'll just hang out, you know, keep it nice and chill. Everything is going to be easy. This time to come back with a little bit more of a bite. Raccoon, really known for those shotgun plays, goes in there, kind of clears things out, but then Chloric once again, somehow able to find a couple of kills, make it a little bit more punishing. And of course, sure, it's still an Evictix round at the end of the day, but they knock out 3 out of 5 of the weapons that were kind of bought up in that previous round. So great stuff from NRG Academy. Now they've got their full weapons. Chloric has another annihilation. I feel like Chloric has had an annihilation like every 3 rounds. It's kind of crazy.
Correct. It's been a lot. I will say it has been a lot. This is the 3rd one in the game, I believe. Scotty just going to back off the wall just a little bit. Don't want to get sprayed out. You have Raccoon over towards Hookah, and you've got help inside the site as well. So plenty of tools available for the defense of Evictix. Ren's going to kind of walk up. And yeah, they get in for one. Scotty's position. Traded able to find 2 in response. So Annihilation committed to this play. And it looks like that should be a guaranteed elimination, and it will be. Ange, meanwhile, catches Dre sleeping at mid on the lurk. So now it's on to Shaw's and Traded, who have to kind of decide how they're going to go reapproach the A site with that lurk kill and the teleport over.
And great just discipline from Ange there, not necessarily moving forwards. It was a fun little play right off the rip to set Dre up into that position and deny any of that extra space and hopefully find Ange, but Ange gets a little bit wiser to it.
Traded, passed up top at heaven. Grab that will have him momentarily paralyzed. Ooh, careful there. His shots nearly shot next to the box, but time is going to run out likely on this retake attempt. Plus, you just don't want to give away the weapons. Yeah, but it'll likely be a labored approach, although Shaw's does give you one. The problem is the clock is now your biggest adversary. You get another, but they would need to kill Ange right now. And the snake bite down. Well, is there enough time for this? There very well may be. And then, wait a second, NRG Academy maybe caught a little bit on their heels, thinking that, okay, we just throw a couple of shoulders, just keep them back a little bit, but they give away the eliminations at the wrong time by not a lot remaining. So Evictix somehow pull out the bonus, and now they're in a huge advantage here in the first map.
I was just gonna say, okay, yeah, I was just about to say, you know, based on how previously this composition kind of worked, NRG Academy were expecting to come into this attack a little bit more aggressively, and it just kind of like these little small errors are opening up opportunities for Evictix to kind of walk away. So a good time for this timeout to be called from MCE. Let's see kind of what they want to set up with themselves. Right now, Chloric has kind of been their top fragger, kind of been finding all of these kills. But one of the big question marks that I've been having so far is how they're integrating this waylay into the composition. We're seeing it get a little bit of that information in the move in, you know, flying through the sky. Oh yeah, spotted him out. Okay, let's just hit that recall back up here. But beyond that, I don't think Renz has been getting that much value. It really feels like a night and day comparison when you look at Shaw's and how much team play is kind of going on around the waylay. I worry that on NRG Academy's side, Renz on this waylay is more just because, oh, waylay is meta. And it doesn't feel like they've put together any of the synergies that you would expect them to play off of that waylay for their side. So bit of things kind of falling apart here. But of course, the duelists on the side of Evictix have really just been keeping this one nice and in check.
Yeah, especially considering the difference between what we've seen out of Shaw's compared to a Renz, for instance. But all right, important moment here, and well, Traded will find one gate crash back to safety, if only just barely. You have Raccoon on a Odin just trying to spam down this choke point to see what kind of damage can be tallied, of which there will be not much. So NRG Academy will have to go the rest of the round to 4v5 with the, of course, weapon disadvantage.
Oh no.
Yeah, Odin Gober. Traded able to connect. Evictix will get to double digits as soon as they can shut down Shondex, which they grab pretty quickly. So flawless round for Evictix up big.
Yeah, that was looking so clean coming through from Evictix that time. I mean, sure, you know, they try to move in from off of the flash, you know, let's move in here and let's make this one work. But Raccoon with just the Odin spraying things down and has a couple of people swinging off of him as well, just to make sure that any opportunity, any angle will be kept safe. As a result of that, NRG Academy, like, they just walk in past that smoke wall and completely just get mowed down. Things are really starting to spiral out of control here, as Evictix now have the drift, have the nightfall, and of course they have the convergent paths. And once again, the combo utility that's I've been seeing off of these ultimates has been looking nice and crisp from Evictix. NRG Academy are running out of space.
Yeah, and they're running out of time too.
Oh no.
Thanks. To make matters worse, Renz will drop on the entryway at Hookah. So NRG Academy, again, behind what is supposed to be the power of the post plan of Deadlock, have not had a chance to really get the spike down in any level of comfort. And trying to walk up, able to find a good opener, create space around the A site for a plant. Traded looking to challenge. And it does catch one before falling. Next one up, Giza, able to shine the shutdown, but still, there's just too much pressure on the map. And flipping the 1v2. Gonna shake off the decay in a moment. Avoid the follow-up utility, takes some damage for a moment, but maybe a chance. Gets a worse than 1v1. Wall about to fall here in a moment. Dre, look, it's the wrong direction. I mean, Ange is just dancing with it. A huge one. Comes through
man,
for
Ange
NRG
just
Academy.
decides, you know what? I'll do it myself. Coming so alive in this moment. A lot of these kills weren't even really, you know, just off of utility, off of good plays. It was just Ange playing so intelligently, specifically around this wall. Sure, that's an easy one to kind of point your finger at, but not afraid to kind of take some of these angles, push a little bit forwards with how Evictix have been just kind of holding themselves up, playing it slow, playing it patiently. And so Ange just kind of walks up and makes sure it happens. Also got the spike down in the midst of all of that chaos. We'll have the Viper's Pit available now for that potential post-plant, you know, reinforcement of the site afterwards. But it's a different look. This time NRG Academy looking towards that A site, but it is a push-up from the double duelists. Shondex, though, make sure Shaw's can't do a darn thing.
And that makes life a little bit more difficult for Evictix, largely due to the fact that Trey really can't stay here with the op. The gate crash will get him back to safety, but Trader will need assistance, is what I'm trying to say. He can't just hold the site by himself. So you're commit, it looks like Dre to hang with him. Now off a shot, it would make it much easier for the defense, but Gatecrash will back up and still stay.
Sensor destroyed.
Oh, Chloric at least gets that information that somebody is close by. Oh, it's going to be a challenge inside the smoke. Yeah.
Shocker traded. Here comes the commitment from NRG Academy. Dre, some trouble, but still alive in the corner. Chloric has to be careful here.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
Fall, and is able to find Dre a little bit by surprise. Barrier orb now down. This post plant becomes very difficult to break, especially with the Viper's Pit in play. Raccoon trying to clear it as much out as possible. But with the Odin, can you really turn this into that big boy phantom that we've seen in the past? Not the case in this particular moment. Ren with the trade out. And honestly, this op just is not a tool that you want for the job. So go back away here, break the barrier, see if you can save. And well, that's not even a guarantee yet. And they'll get away from it. NRG Academy has done the job they need to.
And finally, we get to see the post plant positioning from the deadlock. You know, it's just so
Finally, for real.
annoying. And yeah, of course, a great round coming in from NRG Academy. You know, they use that Viper Spit just to reinforce things a little bit more. And you can tell it's one of those things where it's not necessarily like a resource war, but at that point, like, there's just so much investment from NRG Academy that Evictix just decide, hey, we're not going to even bother with this one. We've lost enough people. Let's just carry the guns forward into the next round. And yeah, so timeout now being called for Evictix. It's kind of interesting because they did just lose 2 rounds, but I'm wondering if they're just trying to change up their strategy here. Of course, coming in, still have the convergent paths online for Shaw's. But on the flip side, Shondex does have the orbital strike. So, you know, when you see the convergent paths, you're like, uh-oh, they're going to run at us. They're going to try and shoot us all down. But then if a giant space laser cuts off that point of contact, well, you're sitting nice and pretty. Conversely, if Shondex wants to use that to at least clear a couple of spaces out, then Evictix, they have to make sure that they're kind of playing back and play a little bit more reflexively based on that convergent path to be able to get that win condition. But traded, find an operator as well into this next round. And so, kind of curious what they will be talking about and what they will be showing us as we kind of get out of this timeout.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see if they do want it. For NRG Academy, I should say, we do all these things. NRG can't come out offensively with some aggression to get the orbs. Who do they prefer to have the X-Men? Do you want the Seekers? Do you want the paths? Do you want the Annihilation? Because, yeah, there are some guaranteed responses. Shaw's for the path of his own, but there's not opportunity yet. There's shower control. See if you can get enough drawer and turn this into, wow, open aggression. But it's just lucky to be alive after a forward and battle for showers. I will say has stayed stable here for
that was such a fun little play coming through from the defense. Yeah, you get a little bit of information. Just send Traded in there with the operator. You've only got to hit 1 bullet and you'll be fine. And then immediately you can see NRG like, oh snap. And they basically almost killed Traded, but Traded able to step out of the way, get that teleport all the way back to B, but now is perched up in heaven on A. Watching from above, we're ready for the push through here. And as the smokes come down, it's making it feel a little bit easier here. They're gonna be walking through. Chloric, though, might get caught off guard. Oh my goodness me. Shots. Just deciding to send it over the barrier mesh there. As Chloric is able to find the kill. Raccoon, known for the judging yet again. Still gonna be looking around here. Spike goes down. Raccoon down to 1 HP. Scotty now gonna be able to rendezvous up, make sure that this is a little bit more possible as Shondex keeping at bay here. Shondex is able to find that kill. And yeah, Scotty just gonna have to back out of that one. An excellent round from NRGA. Make sure they secure yet another. Scotty actually just gonna be holding just in case they push him a little bit further. But we're really quickly starting to see this comeback slowly mount towards NRGA. And of course, it started out with a pretty solid run from Evictix, making sure that they were able to secure so many rounds in a row and are honestly really just trying to deny this rifle. But Scotty, yeah, gonna drop that one down. As it is NRGA now closing the distance 9-10 here. Based on that last round, it might have been a little bit too fast, too furious coming through from Evictix there. So many problems kind of just getting introduced. Thanks to, once again, the energy composition of how they want to kind of isolate these different areas. But, you know, trying to go so greedy for the kills is not going to necessarily work out in their favor. So, NRG, let's see what they've got for us this next round. Convergent Paths, Seekers, as well as the Annihilation, Chloric, looking as clean as ever. This Raccoon goes a little bit exploring here. This is a bit of a push out from Evictix to at least guarantee that space outside of A. There's an opportunity for potentially, oh, never mind. Yeah, the Waylay backs out completely, but meanwhile, Renz goes right in there. It's gonna back out of there after securing a little bit of that information. The sprays through working out in Renz's favor. Traded, gonna get taken down completely. The Seekers now used as well, just to guarantee the information here onto this site. Raccoon's so low HP, Bucky in hand, but the call gets made to back out of that one. Dre alone with the Dream. Still has the Sheriff. Chloric was not able to guarantee the space here, so as long as they can deal with Dre, as Dre spots out one barrel and not wiser to it. We'll go down in the midst of that. Down to this 3v4 as Shaw's gets stunned up, but hey, you just need one bullet to make that Bucky sing. We'll do just that. It's Prowler looking around here. Giza looking the wrong way. Scotty finally finding their time to strike. The Convergent Paths tossed in just for good measure, as Chloric's able to still find one away. The net in hand goes to the peak, but Shaw's, it's all good. It's just a little bit of a time delay, so Evictix, where things are starting to look a little bit dicey here, they kind of pulled this one back into their favor to guarantee that 11-9 score line. They're able to scoop up a couple of weapons as well and still look to close out this map. Kind of a crazy play, Dre. Not flushed out in the midst of all of it, I think was the first issue that kind of happened when we see the NRGA decide to move in there. Sure, last couple of times that they did decide to kind of take that teleporter move all the way onto the A site, they were able to successfully clear things out, kind of in that Ange versus Dre duel happening on the A site while all the action's popping off on B. That time around, Dre staying alive, making it a little bit more difficult for NRG to really secure the space. And then in the midst of all of it, they lose their Viper that was going to be used to really delay the push in back from Evictix. And so they can just kind of push in there and once again, make that one work out really well. Timeout now being called from NRG Academy. Slow down the play as, once again, things start to swing back towards Evictix's favor. You see Chloric still with the Annihilation in hand. Renz still using the Convergent Paths here. Let's see how they want to kind of take this. Once again, when we take a look at the deadlock being forced into this energy composition, I use the word force there. I don't mean the word force there. They're really trying to make this one work. It comes down to really just denying some of the avenues, denying some of the spacing as well, and then just kind of popping. I mean, a lot of the initial dialogue surrounding the deadlock was specifically just around how it's basically a pseudo initiator, and especially given the fact that you've got Giza with the flashes, Chloric with the net can really guarantee stuff if the net gets popped properly on some of these agents. Once again, just a lot of the comboing, a lot of the playing off of each other just feels not as cohesive off of NRG Academy.
Facts, absolute facts, Mark. You couldn't have said it better. And I'm here.
Welcome, Shio.
Yeah, Shiv will be back momentarily. Evictix in the business. Nice defensive setup on B. Running straight into it is exactly what Academy's doing here from the NRG side. And it's looking dire now. 3v4, Marks. It's getting hot and twisted.
Yeah, the immediate shutdown there. And you see that, like, NRG Academy, they kind of used quite a bit of their utility as well to try and force their way in, but it gets completely shut down. And Evictix, I mean, they're all just holding all of the individual angles that NRG Academy could kind of push in. They're really just going to be leading on that information gain before they decide which way they want to, you know, swing this defense and which side to reinforce.
That'll be like a second instance of first blood here between the two teams. If it is going to the side of NRG Academy, you can expect that Annihilation from Chloric to come in. It'll make a big difference as they move up a short wall. Not needed. Nobody peeking from heaven, creeping slowly on the sites. And now we get to see that, yeah, okay. From the side of Evictix, Shaws knows something's wrong. Smokes are there though. Orbital strike up in the business. It's gonna just sear a little bit of the side of NRG Academy, but no one going down just yet.
Excellent repositioning here. Shondex moving up. Could find a timing, but actually Dre a little bit more aware to it.
Yeah, you all have the full delivery package inside, but looks like that box is being opened by the side of Evictix. They're rolling through now. 4v2 on advantage. Overwhelming. And Atlas, or should I say Ange, is going to have the world on his shoulders. Shoulders not big enough to hold it up for now. That'll be match point on the side of Evictix, Marks. I mean, this game started off a little bit slow, contacting between both teams. Now we're in a situation where Evictix really has things rolling after that timeout.
Yeah, they absolutely do. At the end of the round there, it was looking like a hot summer day with a bit of sugar on the ground. The ants just completely swarming over it. Fantastic play, just kind of pushing through, playing that contact, playing off of each other, and leaving zero room for error to allow NRG Academy to be able to get it. Sure, they were able to get the sneak up in there. Sure, they were able to get the spike plant down. At that point, Traded had kind of done more than enough damage, removed too many pieces from the equation for the NRG Academy post plant to make sure that that was going to be an easy Evictix round. And so, Evictix, they find us at map point right now, ready to take bind from NRG Academy. But of course, this still was Evictix's map pick, so you know they came into this one with a bit of a game plan.
Right now, that game plan running a bit dry when it comes to utility on the side of Evictix. 2 smokes forced down. Molotov in the business as well. The dash is going in. Renz needs to just get some control on this game. Unfortunately, there is no annihilation. It's peaceful on the side of the attack, but suddenly Renz starts to lighten things up again. Traded going down. A big piece of the pie being eaten by the side of NRG Academy. Spike's not down yet. They're looking for more kills, and they're getting them left and right. Forget about how to play the game. Let's take this fight into our own hands. Let's get these rifles in the faces on the side of Evictix. They know that Shaw's is still around. They don't want him saving this op either. Boomstick almost found, and there is that lightning strike. Yeah, tough for the side of NRG Academy. You're going to be losing one. Not having shower control. Is TP kind of in the business here, Marks? It might be possible.
And look at this, like they're just using the spike plan as bait, basically. Last time they tapped it, they just ran through Evictix, and this time they're just doubling up, waiting for the operator peek there, but Spike will be able to go down nice and secure as Scotty moves in up from heaven, but is spotted out, so now it's just Shaw's.
That was tough. There was definitely a chance there with the control they had. Showers having that much control, Heaven having that much of a sight line. This will be tough for the side of Shaw's. I was gonna say gonna be able to afford maybe another operator, but it might just go through the entire budget that Raccoon has there. No scope this time, it feels like, Marks. That could be a big difference for the side of the defense.
And it's so interesting when you talk about that defense on that retake. Like, you look at how all these players are playing. Really, they prefer to play a little bit more in that long range retake. They want to keep NRGA at bay. They want to keep them nice and far away, allow Shots to use that operator to find those kills. Dre a little further as well, except for Traded and Raccoon. Those are your 2 players that you know are ready to get into the mosh as soon as those smokes go down. So the fact that Traded gets taken out so early in that last round makes it so much easier for NRG Academy to kind of secure things forwards. Traded, though, moving up in the midst of that Viper's Pit that gets invested. And NRG Academy, a little bit more aware, especially with the Nightfall in the pockets of Evictix. They want to make sure that they don't necessarily run into an easy Nightfall trap and then get completely surrounded, especially with the mobility that the Yoru brings to the board.
Yeah, we talked about, or Marsh just mentioned that Traded likes to be up close, likes to be in that mosh pit. Well, H-Sword is moshy right now. This thing is close range, and Traded is ready for any type of pick that comes his way.
Like a Berlin nightclub.
So, I mean, you would know more about that than I would. All right. Me, I'm like Dre and Octagon, you know, clear sight lines, not dancing too much. Want to keep things to the point, and the point might be this crosshair that gets broken by Renz. Is it Modern Warfare 2 or is it Valorant? I don't know with that quick scope. I mean, things are looking crazy. Raccoon, though, I like this adjustment, right? One of your teammates goes down, still have that hookah control, play around your smokes, and this might be a timing he needs. Kind of says that he's in here, though. Plays for the scan, no scan found, and his identity now is known, but he has no impact on the round. Spikes in, and this is looking good for the Academy.
Yeah, now Evictix, they have to regroup themselves. Shaw's still very much alone on that top there. It's going to be very heavy on the retake through hookah. But as all 3 members group up, I love the positioning from NRG Academy. It looks like they're all grouped up, ready to just kind of play off the cross, play off the contact. And once again, that deadlock utility makes this so much more difficult for Evictix to move in.
Yeah, Nightfall will be a nightmare for NRG Academy, but time is a process as well.
Oh, no
Scotty
way.
with that judge says on a 4-man with even a position inside spawn. Yeah, no one has long. They're not sure what the defensive spawn looks like in terms of an entrance to be. They decide to 4-man save this round and take it to overtime point. That is a crazy call.
And today is February 10th. I believe this is the first time that I have seen a 4-man trade be called in tier 2 or above. Everyone mark down your calendar, specifically 2026. Valorant's been out for like what, 5-6 years at this point? Kind of crazy. But we're finally seeing the 4-man save come through. And yeah, at this point, Evictix, you got to take that second time out here to try and make sure you close this map out. Of course, you know, they're not coming in here with the best weaponry. Scotty already teasing us with that judge, but Raccoon still has that Nightfall. NRG Academy on the other side, though, well, if Giza finds one more kill, we'll have the Seekers online. And once again, things feel like they're coming together a little bit more when it comes to NRG Academy. Evictix, they really have to take this time to change up their strategy because they're becoming a little bit more predictable. And NRG Academy have adapted themselves to be more forward thinking, be a little bit more aggressive when they want those pops. And it's really been working out well for them because they're overrunning the defense on these sites.
They really are. But like, I'm wondering, Marks, like what type of situation are you looking for better? You know, the grammar's horrible there. Let me rephrase. When does it get better for a Nightfall? You're giving a fish water there. That's kind of the home turf of Fade in that moment. You know there's people on site. It's a 3-man situation. Yeah. And we don't send that ultimate, man. That is so tough.
I get the sense that it was just a little bit of uncomfortability coming from Raccoon. Not necessarily aware of, you know, how necessarily things were going to go. And so, hey, let's just hold on to that Nightfall just in case. But this is going to be it. And so we're starting things off here. NRG Academy ready to make this overtime happen. And yeah, it is a very forwards play. Shaw's moving up with the operator and just on the other side, waiting for that push through. I'm curious to see whether or not the duelists will push up even further. But you know what? Hey, welcome back, Shift. Glad you could have us in the last round of regulation.
I mean, come on. I like to save myself for the best times possible. Now, it might be right now. Now, weird internet things happening, but we're good now, I believe, and that means we can continue forward, focusing just on the game. Hey, how are you?
There's that scope shot I talked about.
There it is, exactly. And he might get a chance to use it. Shoulder comes out, a little bit wider than expected, and Shaws cannot get away. Traded in the corner. Viper's ball will fall. NRG will find a second. Dre, not able to do much with that besides just find one. It's a mere consolation prize. The Seekers will guarantee the plant, and we're looking good for an OT situation.
Yeah, it's looking very doable right now. Scotty and Raccoon have 2 judges in hand. Nightfall gets used. Ren's the only person caught up, but the saturate will slow Raccoon down.
Yeah, there's just, with double judges, you don't break this post plant down easily.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, especially with Ange watching on 4. Does he get the ace? Did he give him the ace? Yes! That's a little momentum booster. A couple in a row. Now heading into OT.
Yeah, excellent stuff coming through from NRG Academy. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought Evictix, the way that they had to take that round was to be more aggressive themselves. We want to see them being a little bit more proactive and not giving NRG the upper hand when it comes to that positional advantage, especially in that early round. I thought that maybe that was going to be the switch up, but instead we see something very similar to what they've shown us on those previous rounds. They just decide to overstay their welcome just a bit more. But you know, Ange is just an expert at playing around that Viper's wall. This time has Chloric for a little bit of insurance, and so everything comes up perfectly for NRG Academy. Now we go to OT. It's looking pretty evened out between both of these sides, so it's hard to predict how this one will go, but NRG Academy starting us out on this defense, and already they're going to be getting that information that there are players down on B long. The deadlock notably is going to be over towards Showers. But, of course, Evictix, they've got their eyes set on that B site and are ready to push through the smoke at a moment's notice.
I'll see what this contact looks like. Smoke will go down for the offense. Evictix will cross quite silently, unless Ange can hear some of these footsteps from inside hookah. Eyes are up, though, for Renz. And Evictix are looking for some sort of a burst play. Decoy not going to fool anybody, but it looks like there's a bit of information here that Evictix have a player back in the site trap, or do they? Renz with to come back into the fight for the fight. Not just one, but 2. Huge. So now Ange is still positioned at hookah. Giza's walking over to try to assist for the defense of this site, but it looks like they are going to sacrifice the plant and play the 4v2 retake.
Yeah, and at this point, NRG Academy, as sharp as ever. Giza going to be taking first contact here up against Scotty. Scotty's able to win that one out to make it a 2v3. Let's see how this retake continues to unfold.
And that gives you a post-plant position to work with. Dre still tucked in a corner. Getting 1 would be fine. Getting 2 would be incredible. Maybe in the position to do it. There's the first. Dre now looking for the one over towards Huga. Not going to be able to find it. Robo strike can be called in, but the shutdown is in. Last player of Scotty has been seen. Able to find one, but not the other. Plenty of time for the defuse and NRG Academy take the edge in the overtime.
Yeah, Ange has just been shooting incredibly well this game. Obviously, as sharp as ever with the crosshairs, has Rensliver back up on the actual site. A disgusting flick while aiming down sight as well in the midst of all of it. Kind of crazy if you ask me, Rens, but hey, we like what we see. Rens is slowly climbing back up in that kill feed. Had a very difficult start to this map, honestly, but once again, has been starting to light it up individually. And hey, you know what? I talked a lot about synergy. I talked a lot about how you want that util to work. But at the end of the day, if Ange and Rens are able to find multi-kills round after round, then things are going to be looking excellent for NRG Academy. Now, they just need 1 more to win.
Agreed. This would be huge to steal away Evictix map pick, especially considering they're going back into the deadlock that they had not played until really the opening rounds of this Swiss stage. But trusting what they knew, even with a couple of, well, really just one unfortunate result, seems to be going okay for them at the moment. NRG Academy now looking for a little bit of a burst play through Hookah. We haven't seen a lot of this from their offensive side prior. Rens, does he want to try to dive on into this and see if he can open up some space? Thinking about it by his position, but this wall's going to fade here soon.
Not again,
the spam's coming through, and Rens will just sit and wait.
Ooh. There was so much potential there for us to see a classic round for Evictix on the defense, which is Raccoon just finds a triple kill in Hugo with the Odin. That time around, NRG Academy barely escaping. Meanwhile, Shots has gone so far deep in. If NRG Academy don't check this, this could be dangerous.
Sure could, and there's one. Wall goes up to stop any more from being hindered on the play. And on the hunt, but yeah, that's a good call from Shaws. Get out of there. So now it's just down to how can this attack from the front develop. Barrier Orb does split the site just a touch. Ren's though seen trying to cross into the smoke. Massive opportunity here for a big shots from Plor. It gives an opportunity here back at the on the spot. He's got more than just to do. A little bit of a big split out as Trey finds himself stuck into a corner. Plant will go in 3v3.
Shondex as well, 1 away from getting the orbital strike. If Shondex finds 1 more kill, that's a good tool to use.
Watching from a deeper angle. Good bonding out.
Wow.
Leaves Scotty back to do damage.
Yeah, it was just so good there that you know, it's causing all the interwebs to kind of confuzzle themselves as things kind of get tied up yet again. I was really liking what we were seeing coming through from Shondex specifically, able to move through there and find those kills, kind of having a highlight round that time. But then Evictix, they just come in and clean up. Raccoon looking like that Odin specialist at that point. But still looking good for both of these sides. It's a lot more competitive than we necessarily were expecting. You know, you take a look at how this one was going. Once again, NRG Academy had such issues, for lack of better terms, with this composition specifically onto the defense. And while they're able to start winning out some of these rounds, it looks like they've really cleaned some things up here and under attack, but we'll try to keep them at bay. Doesn't matter. Shaws goes in there and takes a huge chest piece off the board there for Evictix. And Rens will take a bit of damage there, but has to back out. As, yeah, it's still the spike down. Very patient plays coming through from Evictix this time. Just kind of baiting NRG Academy to move through, and they find Giza in the midst of it, too. Oh, Rens. A little bit wiser to the Yoru clone. Mesh does expire. Shondex trying to make that one be a little bit of a hero play. And yet, not going to be enough. The gaps, yet again, falling through for this NRG Academy defense. As Evictix still have 4 members alive. And they're slowly going to be able to creep up here. The only hope right now is Chloric so deep. Should potentially be able to find a way to weasel their way through. Potentially find a lot if Dre doesn't spawn him first. And Dre does, but goes down. And yeah, Chloric, you get all the way out there.
For now, I'm back, by the way. Hello. The round comes down to 20 seconds marks. I mean, it's going crazy on our side. It's going crazy for the players as well. The back and forth in this game, it just takes one team to get 2 to just get it done.
And now Chloric 1v3 scenario. Traded gonna be the first person to spot that one out. Gets a bit of information, but can immediately just teleport away. This is near impossible for Chloric. We're gonna give it the good old college try. Doing every single corners, cutting those slices of pie. I'm gonna tap the spike potentially. Nope. Just decides to go forward. Prowler will confirm that information as Traded navigates all the way around and will be able to find a nice, easy back kill as the Evictix now are on map point here as they look to close out their map choice.
Now, talk to me about this, Marks, right? Evictix, when it looks at the defense side from just not even just the OT, but Bind in general, this entire map, what's been working for them? How have they kind of had the edge against NRG Academy?
I'm gonna be honest, when it comes down to how they want to play it, it sounds so simple, but it's just making sure that they're not necessarily, like, they're staying together and being able to set up a lot of these like trap plays for NRG Academy to necessarily walk into. Every single time you see this happen, it's because Evictix have multiple members stacked up. NRG Academy, they spread themselves out on that defense, allowing for those opportunities really for Evictix to kind of pull them apart. And I talked about their util combinations. When they want to spring some of those traps, they've been looking so damn good at it every single time. NRG Academy, though, they started to pull things together a little bit more, in my opinion, and how they wanted to play a little bit more grouped up, and that was really working out for them. But unless they continue to really just play off of one another and kind of use that built-in synergy, forget about all the utility, just making sure that they're playing off each other off the wall to allow Ange to go crazy, then this still is a very winnable map for them.
A long default from them, and what Evictix did there, they went down long double duelist style, double dashed in with Waylay as well. Saw so much information as to there was no one there. TP back to A. Now A is the strong side. NRG might have heard that TP, move back over, get the pick on Shaw's. TP comes up again, so there's support here from the side of Evictix. The rotations are pretty good. It's all about the choice when it comes to NRG Academy. The choice is A, and that choice is denied, Marks. They are not allowed entry.
And Dre still so far forwards. Ange spots out the, okay, yeah, is able to find that kill there. And now Scotty in such an opportune position, but Shondex so aware. Shondex becoming so online these last couple of rounds. And suddenly what was starting out as a good Evictix round flips on its head completely. Traded in Raccoon, a 2v3.
Pendulum swings between both these teams as they kind of just ample for control. Right now on the side of NRG Academy, and Ange might push that power a bit inside U-Haul. Hit the flank up, but the timing is nice. Rents, insurance in short, showers looking under control as well, although one will go down. Ange will be the one to have the pit found. Molly in tow as well, and the positioning is prime from Ange. You have an ace to make it to OT. You have a 3K inside the business as well. It's not just that Rhino dancing, it's all the entire academy, Marks. I mean, these guys must be pumped, and they want to win.
Yeah, they do. And this feels like such a energy. Of course, we're in like triple overtime at this point. Like, these teams are so evenly matched with how this map has kind of been playing out here. And one thing that is really impressing me right now is we're seeing individual members from NRG Academy step up to the plate. Sure, we were talking about Chloric very early on in this map, and then it feels like the superpower was kind of passed on to Ange, and now it's moved on to Shondex. Like, Shondex has been hitting every single shot, is not afraid to play far forwards here. And yeah, is gonna have to back out, understanding the pressure coming through, but at least they get out some of that easy Waylay utility, so the saturate combo can't come through anymore for the Evictix side.
You can see the difference in the defense size between these teams. I mentioned the teleports across the maps, the dashes all the way down long. It is static for NRG Academy. Chloric has to make a setup that is perfect, a really good read for the team, and then stick to it. Two players sit in hookah the entire time. They don't have a Yoru to go all the way across the map. A is the lockdown site for numbers. B is the lockdown site for util. Thing is that util can run out. All up for now, doesn't even matter. Let's not look at B. Check out A as the dash is about to go down. Giza up in the distance for first contact. What's there? Slow down time. Try to find a way to make things your own. Not going to be the chance for Evictix this time. Really good chances on some util trades. It's still 3v2. Oh no, 3v3 between both teams.
Yeah, Ange in such a prime position there. I was gonna say, able to take so much space, and in the midst of this as well, Chloric completely fallen back. So Scotty in opportune timing there. Chloric spots him out and makes that one work. And yeah, NRGA, like, just excellent shutdown there. You can see Evictix trying to bait them out, trying to look for that individual kill. The stack up is ready. Just peek us, and we're gonna mow you down. Well, it turns out NRG Academy don't have to peek at all, really, and can just kind of hold their ground because that's the benefit of this defense. And they work that one nice and easy. Ange still, once again, turning things up. NRG Academy back onto map point, but they have to make sure that this attacking round works out for them. Let's see what they've got. Maybe changing things up. It looks like Chloric will be the one challenging Hookah over here, as Dre is going to be the one lurking, but with that early net, kind of getting popped so early on, decides to just back off. Ren's going in.
Oh, complete pace change. Drops down into the minimap effect. Is going to be able to see things to push Shaw's all the way back. Now, immediate control on the front side for the side of NRG Academy. Shower still an option, but Shaw's is deleting a few of those as they pop up. Ren's locked down, traded, feet on fire, not in a good way. Down to 14 HP. And gonna get greedy with it. Everyone moving in. Gonna go for every single frag. This could be it.
Not Raccoon.
Equalizer. 3K with the Odin. Nightfall in there. It's a nightmare for NRG Academy. Oh my God.
Oh, not like this. Not like this. We go again, yet again. And I was gonna say, Shile, like we take a look at that, and you know, both duelists that time bring in operators, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is gonna be interesting because we know NRG like to go for that kind of close crunch with all of these smokes. But don't worry, Odin to the rescue. The Raccoon is gonna be in the back line and just absolutely lights up every single player on NRG Academy, not even giving a moment to breathe. Evictix tie things up. We go overtime yet again, and this time it looks like they're going to be a little bit more rambunctious. Trading saturates there. No kills to be found.
Dash in. The shorty's good. Shaw's with the classic, but it's chaos onside the teleporter. Chances for NRG Academy dwindling. 4 people left alive. Shaw's never went down for Evictix, and they're going to be 1 round up again unless this dynamic duo can find a way to equalize. Showers control, short control, U-Haul also bolstered up. Marks, this is an impossible task.
It is impossible, but with how well these two have been playing, I wouldn't say it's completely ruled out here as Ange moves forward there, gets chomped on by the Prowler, but Raccoon really going to be the big thing that they kind of need to deal with, and is somehow able to escape up until then. So Ange finds that kill there. They're able to gain space with so little time on the clock here, Shio.
Yeah, you got fire coming in up top from Dre. There's not going to be chances at all for NRG Academy to scrounge that one up. But again, between these two teams, we can see the pace change is there. When it comes to playing these rounds back to back, you have to now try to read if you're Chlorix. Is a fast push the best way to equalize on attack? For Evictix, what side do we start this Yoru on? When should we TP? Questions when the pace is this fast. It goes crazy between both teams. And how about this too? Maybe the servers are overheating because of all this fire gameplay. Attack pause in the mix. What is this, quadruple overtime?
Yeah, we've hit 4 at this point, and you know, you said it, it was so chaotic that even the 1s and 0s in the network couldn't quite keep up with what the heck was going on that site. One thing for sure, I like you, exactly like you said, actually, I love the injection of pace that we've seen Evictix kind of pick up there. That was like the one thing really that I wanted them to kind of do off of that timeout. I wanted them to take things into their own hand, you know, not play so passively against NRG Academy, because the times that we've seen NRG Academy, it's always, we're going to hang out for a little bit, you know, take our time, just wait out some util, just in case Evictix are going to push forwards. But when they decide to spring, boy, how do they spring fast. And in those opening moments, if Evictix can kind of get the jump on them at the start of the round, trying to be a little bit more proactive, they've been catching NRG Academy off guard and have secured so many kills and so many rounds just with that level of push forwards in the initial phase. So that was kind of what I'm hoping to see. It seems like we're being treated to that, but of course, you know, until this technical pause kind of gets alleviated, we'll say, Evictix, they're sitting there, they're at the edge of their chairs right now. They want to close this one out finally.
Yeah, I like the way that you mentioned the approach Evictix has towards both their defense and offense. It's about getting those pushes down. I want to do some trivia by learning here, Mark. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this concept, but I'm going to give you a 3-letter, like, I guess, company name, and it's about like youth. It's a youthful clothing brand. Like, they have shops all around, even in like big town centers and malls. You know, a 3-letter clothing brand. You know,
the what clothing brand?
Can you give me a clothing brand that's just a 3-letter clothing brand for like the youth to buy clothes at like a store?
ALO. Aloe?
Have you heard of the GAP, the Gap?
Okay, all right. You walked me into
there
that
are
one.
gaps in Evictix's gameplay is what I'm trying to say, Marks, when they go for these pushes you're talking about. When they push down long, Yoru's not going to have the most optimal TPs. There's gaps of about 10 seconds of time. The NRG Academy do have a chance to chomp down on this Evictix defense side. You saw it in that last one. When they had shower control, you could have bursted out with Renz easily onto site, caught the Yoru TP off guard, had the 2v3. There are gaps in their game where there is one moment where that teleport is traveling a little bit. There are just two people on a site that they don't have the util to hold it with either. So can they find the youthful close? Can they find the gaps is what I'm trying to look at here for NRG Academy.
See, I thought you meant when you said like the youthful clothes, like the clothes that youths wear all the time, and I'm like, there's no way kids are willingly going and buying clothes from Gap, and then in today's day and age, simply not true, Shia.
Not true. Damn, that's on me. That's actually on me. Listen, back in my day, there was a store called the Gap. I gotta do some research for these calls real quick. But the big thing too that you were talking about, that you highlighted, traded with that operator, big difference as well on the round, right? In terms of the prep and where he starts, the TPs as well. If traded's opping B long, like you said before, Marks, that TP to backside might not be as powerful if he doesn't have a rifle.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like looking at traded specifically, and I like that you highlight the operator as well, because personally, I feel like traded has been getting a lot more value and finding so many kills earlier on without the operator in hand. Like, the operator, great denial space tool, you know? Ooh, I heard the big sniper rifle shoot. I don't want to move down that way. And that does a really good job at being a deterrent. But when it push comes to shove, when things kind of get into that chaos mode that NRG like to run when they jump onto those sites, traded, to me, feels like is served so much better when they're able to play around on the site itself, you know, having the Phantom in hand, ready to pop out of the smoke, surprise NRG Academy, find a couple of kills to make it such a winnable scenario. But when we see exactly kind of like you pointed out, traded teleporting so far away, you know, having to play so far back, it affords so much more space to NRG Academy to be able to take over the space and then punch Evictix in their own defense and how they want to run at them as soon as the spike kind of goes down.
Absolutely facts. And if they find that space to punch, it's great. Thing is, sometimes Marks, they'll punch into a brick wall. They had their last attack side do really well. They got the first opening picks. Raccoon in the back site with the Odin solved everything. Yeah, like you're gonna have to not just be accurate, but you have to be willing to predict where that very back line support is coming from. It was Raccoon that time. Could be Scotty if he's playing on an off angle, even further back from his teammates. Could be one of the rotators coming in, because Evictix, they do move fast when they see some action. Timeout from the NRG Academy side as well, so we'll see what the changeup is moving into this one. A lot of the times, timeout pre-overtime is really good because you get to talk about the ultimates, what to do, you know, with the util that you have. No ultimates in sight. Everyone's locked into that, you know, -3 orb situation. So it'll just be raw strats from NRG Academy.
And NRG Academy completely spreading themselves out this time. They send up to get a little bit of information outside of B long, given that was a pretty big point that they pushed through, but they actually cut Shaw's, pushing out very far. So this change up in positioning actually kind of working out. You see as well, and all over towards B side has consistently been kind of the anchor player on that A, being able to find that space alongside Chloric. But this time the switch up, well, it works out well. Traded though, holding this angle with the operator, looking for someone to peek through.
He's locked in. If you go and elect to just get this op in overtime, you don't get 2 teleports. So especially if you want to buy a flash, traded has to stay here, can't support B. B is kind of the weak side, but it's been explored on towards long, and we're actually getting out a hookah here from the side of Scotty, so they know it's going to be A. Already rotated over. Traded still has the shower control. We explode on the site, but there's pockets right now that are not covered. Unfortunately, Dre finds nothing. Traded goes down. It's an absolute Tetris falling type of house of cards situation for the side of Evictix right now. They had the position, they had everything locked down. They could not land the shots, and now it's all down to Scotty on the flank. Information, but no power for the side of Evictix. Sends it to another overtime. That's insane.
Yep, we tie it up yet again. I mean, it was just as clean as ever coming through from NRG, completely scrubbing the site clean. They move in there, and yeah, the positioning, Dre, unfortunately, kind of being that anchor, playing on these corners, really to get that information, or at least stall things out, find a kill, maybe play his life, but gets completely shut down. And because of all of that just taken out, like traded can't even move out as well with that operator. And NRG Academy, they just walk in and completely clean house.
Yeah, they were God spots, genuinely a God setup. But what is God to a non-believer on the side of NRG Academy? That's the thing. Wall coming in fast, stopping the aggression here from Academy, or from Evictix, sorry. We're switching sides every single time. And suddenly now they're at a pause, a standstill. They got deadlock wall out early. That's huge. Question is, what do you do after it goes down?
Right here.
And also what I'm thinking right now is seeing that barrier mesh. Are they just thinking right now like, hey, this might be the easier site for us to hit because usually the deadlock has been isolated when they kind of go for that 4-1, but this time not necessarily the case. Traded under a lot of pressure. Rens and Chloric pushing through.
Oh, he holds strong. Hindered and not stopping. Another one for Traded. And although that dash can't get too far back, it's not gonna get too far enough. Raccoon is there for the trade. 2-4 now. Evictix so strong on their attack sides. It's Giza and Ange this time retaking the site.
The bungee cord just keeping him locked in. Not able to dash away from this one. Gonna keep you nice and safe and right in front of all of our Odin spray. Giza and Ange now trying to push up here and find this position, but I like how Evictix are playing this one.
Box is an option. Giza kind of knows about it. Sees the barrel. Will get the bang. After that, a trade available on one side. Showers getting dirty with Shaws on the other. It's a crossfire that's hard to kind of discombobulate here from the side of Giza, but he's playing it pretty well. Time kind of on his side, but the ticks get faster. Molly comes in. Maybe even just might be a slight miss on the spike. Yeah, there's some time. There's space. And there's whiffs on the side of Evictix. Doesn't matter. The crossfire's enough. Going with their food is what it seems like. These guys have such a good lockdown on posts.
Switching sides.
maybe the nerves rising just a little bit there. The spray's not necessarily connecting exactly how you would, but it's just an intimidation factor because if he hears the bullets, he will be scared. Unbelievable start of the round from Traded, actually. Being able to find two despite the saturate. Really just slowing everything down there. So great stuff to be able to just kind of anchor that down, and then, you know, the rest of that just kind of falls to the wayside. So Evictix, once again, gonna be doing their exact same strategy as before. Traded gonna be back onto this operator. It is gonna be the Brimstone as well as the Oru kind of playing far forwards there. Traded gets completely blinded.
No way.
Look at this, shot's going in. Uh-oh.
The spam is there though from Raccoon, so just kind of weakening him down with the shorty. Not sure if they saw the second man in the situation though. And has some time to move up long as well. And we TP with no control in short or showers for the moment. Going straight back to B, back to the Odin. And this thing is talking right now. It's doing so much damage.
And at this point, like, if you're Evictix, you can just kind of chill it out. Set up the lawn chair, kick it back, hold your gun forwards, though. That's going to be important. Make sure the crosshair placement is still good. At this point, you're just chilling. NRG Academy have to push into you. And as a result of that, you can set things up.
It really can. I just really want to stress the fact that getting the pick on Shondex is such a hindrance for NRG Academy. You don't have your smokes. You have to go for sightlines, and for some reason, Evictix is giving them the sprays. They're allowing them to fight. What is that?
Oh boy.
From Evictix is high.
Oh boy.
They've got no smokes. Play the off angles.
Oh boy.
Play after initiator util. Suddenly, a 4v3. This is possible from NRG Academy.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, spike going down as well. Traded still with that operator. Not necessarily the best thing you can do, but yeah, a lot of deadlock utilities still available to really make this a little bit uncomfortable here. And laying out from Hookah, spots one out. Dre gonna be the person first up there as Shaws is able to find Ange actually in the midst of all of that. Everyone playing nice, close, and personal. As Giza goes for the swing through. Evictix look like they're ready to shut down this round. Chloric finds a kill, but Shaws closes that one out. And that is going to be Evictix finally, despite it nearly falling apart in the palms of their hands, finding the win on map number 1.